Hello, my name is Jay Walter, and this is Rebuilding. Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "A mind that is stretched by a new experience can never go back to its old dimensions." So let's stretch our minds, find answers to problems, overcome fears, and rebuild our first kingdom. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Rebuilding. I'm so glad you had a chance to tune in today. Today's quote is by Norman Vincent Peale. "Believe in yourself. Have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy." So today's going to be another great show. I've got two great young men with me today.
Young, what? Maybe younger than you.
Thank you for that.
That was bad.
Mr. Brad Neufeld and
Hello,
Mr. Alan Smith. I almost forgot your name.
Wow, that's
horrible.
How do you forget Smith? I mean,
don't
come on.
know, because it's so common.
It's so common.
Yeah.
So
Boring.
anyway, so welcome, gentlemen. I appreciate your help with the show today and your opinions and thoughts.
Thanks for having us.
So today I want to kind of talk about, I've finished a book that was part of a reading assignment for a group that I'm in. And the reading assignment is The Miracle Equation by Hal Elrod. Now, I'm a full disclosure here, I'm not being paid for endorsing his book. I'm not, receiving any remuneration for talking about his book. But it just hit me as I finished reading this book how powerful our thoughts and our ideas are as we set goals. And one of the big premises in the book is that you set goals not just to achieve something you want to do, but you set them to become the person who can achieve that goal. You set your goals large enough, far enough out, or big enough that you actually have to change who you are to achieve that goal. And so I wanted to talk about how you guys set goals or think about goals, and you think about this process and how setting goals, how you change your life through setting goals. So,
Well, because that's something that I think about quite a bit, actually, because I got a little frustrated when I was younger because everybody preaches set goals. And set goals, and then everything changes in your life. And I'm like, well, I set goals and nothing happens. Everybody else is getting what they want, but I'm not getting what I want. But then it was interesting how later on when I finally, and this may sound very elementary, but it's true what happened with me, my experience, is it hit me that, all right, you can set a goal, but unless you have a plan on how to achieve that goal, nothing's going to happen. And I put it in the context of, all right, if I have an apple tree out in my backyard, I can set a goal all I want to for that to become oranges. And I could sit there all day long and be positive that tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and there's going to be oranges on that tree. But guess what? No matter how positive I am about it, until I go out there and do the work and rip down that apple tree and plant an orange tree, there's not going to be oranges.
That's right.
So
that's also a part of what he says is you need to have the faith that you can achieve that goal, an unwavering faith.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to put a plan in place, a process in place, and work unfailingly to achieve that goal.
Right.
You have to say, okay, here's this goal. What do I need to achieve it? I know I can achieve it. I have the faith that I can achieve it. And then work, he puts it as extraordinary effort. Now, that doesn't mean you need to work 90 hours a week to do this goal, but you need to do the effort to change enough to reach the goal.
Okay.
It may be just getting up and writing in your journal every morning. Maybe you have a goal to have write in your journal every day. Mm-hmm. So the person who writes in their journal every day gets up and writes every day.
Yeah.
And so that extraordinary effort is scheduling a time in the morning when you're going to write in your journal and getting up, not hitting the snooze button, but getting up and writing. Setting the goal that will change your life, having the faith you can reach it, and making the extraordinary effort to reach that goal.
Well, and also a question for you, Jay, is it a matter of then maybe asking yourself or asking others, okay, what do I need to do now that I've set this goal? What do I need to do differently in my life that'll cause this to happen?
Sure.
Okay.
So you have mentors.
All right.
I have this goal to have a radio station on the internet. Now I have a mentor in you, Brad, that's teaching me how to set up shows and to interview people and teaching by example how you process a show and talk with people and different ideas we come up with. And so, yes, have mentors. If you have, he talked about his at college, he worked for Cutco Knives, and he had several mentors that taught him the process of how to make sales calls, how to book appointments, and how to face the adversity, of the rejections and people not showing up for interviews and all these kind of things. How do you deal with all those things?
Right.
So yes, have mentors, and if you got a goal to sail around the world, you might want to go talk to somebody who has a captain's license, who knows how to sail a boat, and learn everything you can from them.
I mean, I can't just go to my neighbor next door that has never been on the ocean, never even seen a boat, and say, hey, teach me.
Sure, you can.
It's probably not going to end well.
Yes. and even, going down to the harbor at Provo Lake, or Utah Lake in Provo, and talking to a guy who just sails his little Hobie craft. What do you call the little Hobie sailboats in and docks? Is to go to him, you might get some basics, but to sail around the world, you might need a little bit more information.
You might need to go somewhere where you're going to actually run into something more than a calm water
Yes.
top. What do we call that? Surface.
Yeah. Water top.
So
Yeah.
it's a water top, that's going to, create a little bit different experience, because if all of your experience around sailing is on a smooth body of water, you're not going to do as well when you get out on the ocean and you've got these huge swells and things that aren't going to go as well.
Yeah.
Because you're only used to doing it on a smooth pond.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So it's all of those things, is deciding what you want to do, finding the mentors, or opening yourself up so that the teacher appears when the student's ready, kind of thing. Putting yourself in the position to learn the things you need to learn to achieve this goal.
Well, and going back to that analogy I was just using, understanding that the waves that come in are just giving you more experience.
Yeah.
For things that might come up later. It's good to be aware of things that might come your way so that you can weather them and manage those things.
Well, and you talk about the waves, Edison, the light bulb.
Right.
How many failures, obstacles, things he had to overcome to reach his goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't fail. He just found out 2,000 ways not to make a light bulb, right?
And, you see all these great men in history, they didn't all reach this pinnacle just by saying, well, I'm going to be this kind of person. That it was their failures, and they learned from them and moved forward.
Well, and now that you're mentioning Thomas Edison, one of the most intriguing things about him, as I've studied, and inspirational for me anyway, was this thing with the light bulb had never been created before. It was just a feeling. It was just something that was inside of his head, and that he had imagined and everything. And of course, I believe that imagination came from, on high. But it's real easy when we have thoughts and stuff like that, if it's to go for it and not know how to do it or where to even start. And of course, a lot of people will tell you, oh, you're stupid, you're dumb, and you'll get all this resistance and whatnot. But if you just hang in there and keep going, again, it wasn't overnight. He just learned things that didn't work, like Alan said.
Yeah.
And then he realized, okay, don't do that again. Let's do something we haven't done before and give that a shot and see how that works. And
Yeah.
finally, it all came together.
Right. Well, and along with goal setting, I think it's important that you have a structure there. I like to use the SMART method. Have you guys heard of that before?
No.
So it's an acronym.
Okay.
And so SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based.
Okay.
And so a goal needs to fall into that criteria. It needs to be specific. I want to travel the world is not specific.
Right.
You're just saying, I want to get out there. Well, where are you going to go? How long are you going to go for? Is it attainable? Do you have the money to do that? And why are you doing it? Right. So if you're specific in your goals, I want to do this. Brad's over here laughing at me.
I'll tell you-
laughing
I'll
at
tell you in a
something.
second.
Something's
Something
going
hit me.
on over there. Anyway, specific. You got to have a specific goal.
Yeah.
I want to earn $10,000 next month.
This is just my warped sense of humor because, like you say, it's got to be specific. Because I just remember a little story one time where a genie came and asked this guy, "Well, what do you want?" "Well, I want $100," and 100 deer showed up.
Right?
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted.
Not specific enough, right? So it's got to be measurable. I want to earn more money. Doesn't give you a specific amount. Is it attainable? Well, I want to work at McDonald's, but I want to make $100,000 a year. Is that realistic? If you're just working at McDonald's, probably not.
Yep.
Unless you're in
Planning
a place,
on owning it and owning
right? If
several
you
of
want
them,
to buy in somehow, or an owner probably makes more than that. Is it relevant to your life situation? Okay, here's Alan. I'm 52 years old. I am never going to be a bodybuilder. It's just not going to happen. I have the dad bod. But is it relevant for me to say, oh, I want to go compete in the Mr. Universe pageant? No. Pageant, competition,
Competition, yeah.
whatever we call those
We
things.
knew what you were talking
Yeah,
about.
it's not a pageant when it's guys. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's got to be time-based.
Yeah.
If you just leave it open forever, you're never going to accomplish anything because you don't have the accountability. That's another word we should talk about is accountability.
Exactly.
If you don't have something that says to you, I need to finish it by a certain time, it's just this thing that floats out there that could happen someday. It's
Someday.
not something that's specific that you're going to accomplish it by this date.
Right.
You need to have a time that says, in the next 3 months, I am going to do whatever it is.
Right. Good.
And I know specific words, since we're on the topic of specificity, if there was a study that I read on the phrase going to, like I'm going to do this. Guess how many people actually followed through and did it?
None.
It wasn't until their thoughts changed and it said, I will do this by this date, that things changed. And
Yeah.
there's been a lot of research done on that.
That's why that SMART method works so well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
Another
makes it
thing that we
concrete.
talked about. Oh yeah, it does. It makes it concrete.
Yeah.
It kind of creates this thing in your head that, oh, here it is, and I have a specific time frame, and okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but we talked about accountability. Should we play with that? for a
Yeah.
minute?
Yeah,
Let's
let's
play
do
with
it.
accountability.
Let's do it.
So that's part of why that smart business or that smart goal setting method works so well.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have accountability, who's going to if nobody's going to ask you about it or ask you how you're doing, how likely are you to follow through?
Not very likely.
Yeah. I know me personally, I won't unless
Yeah.
I'm held to account.
Yeah. Well, then, yeah, that's.
And accountability is not a bad thing. Accountability is actually such an awesome thing for us in our lives. I love when people hold me accountable for things because it means that they're paying attention, first of all, and they're concerned about my growth and my, ability to move forward and to accomplish things.
Yeah. Well, I find so many times that, yeah, I want to do this thing and it's really big and I'm going to let it slide today because it's really hard and I'm not learning as much as I should. And so I'm going to let it slide. And then tomorrow, oh man, I'm way behind. I just can't do it now, and let it slide again. And then it's like, a month later, and you're, that's way too hard. I'm just not. I'm so far behind. It's so far away, so unattainable, because you don't have somebody saying, "Hey, did you write your 1,000 words today for your book? Did you get in? Did you get your journal, writing in today? Did you, whatever it takes? Did you go down to the harbor and find an experienced sailor to go learn how to tie knots and to sail a ship and what things are going to happen in rough weather and all these things?" Those kind of things all help us as we set these goals, is to find a mentor, and have them held us accountable. Our spouse, our family, as we make goals with our family, hold each other accountable. Let's take a quick break as we come to the end of this part of the subject, and we'll explore other parts of setting goals as we continue on with the show. We'll be right back.
Sometimes what we want most in life is just a second chance to do what we should have done to begin with. I'm author Richard Paul Evans. The Road Home, the long-awaited final book in the best-selling Broken Road trilogy, is now on sale. The Broken Road is a story of hope and redemption. It's about a man walking Route 66 back to the only woman he has ever loved, hoping that she might take him back. If you haven't started the Broken Road trilogy, you can now read all 3 books without waiting. The Road Home, now on sale wherever books are sold, just in time for Mother's Day.
Hello, my friends. This is Brad Neufeld, host of the Five Kingdoms radio show right here on the Tribe of Kings Information Network. Be sure and tune in weekly to hear the latest and greatest on the Tribe of Kings, and also to learn all those things that you need to do to be the best that you can be.
And welcome back to Rebuilding. And once again, I'm here with Brad Neufeld and Alan Smith as my guest hosts as we talk about setting goals and how we should set our goals big enough to make us grow and become a person can actually attain these goals. And now, as we talked about, as we went out into break, started talking about accountability. And one of the things that I've learned is I'm actually in an accountability group with this group that I'm in, and we hold each other. We have a call every week, and we talk about our goals and where we want to go from there. And Alan, you said you had some experiences with accountability and processes.
So I do a lot of coaching with people around real estate or writing or doing some different things. So I get the opportunity to work with them on their goal setting. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I've learned is that, again, we mentioned that accountability seems so negative to people. It freaks them out when you say, you're going to hold me accountable? This is horrible.
Yeah.
That's going to make me feel awful. And
all your life, you've been
guilty
given that negative connotation
right.
to it.
So our whole life, it's always been about the negative. And I think it's such a positive thing. So the way that I work this with people is that when they set a goal, we come back to the table each week and we talk about that goal. Okay, what was your goal? Well, my goal was you mentioned write 1,000 words this week, or every day this week.
Every day this week, yeah.
So how did you do? Jay? Did you write your 1,000 words every day?
I missed it every single day, unfortunately.
Okay,
so life get in the way. So
Jay, what got in the way? What is it that got in your way every day?
I wanted to sleep too much. I hit the snooze button too many times. I didn't get up and get in my writing space, and I had to go work overtime at work, and my wife wanted all these things done, and just
okay. So it sounds like you've got a lot of things that came up. So what could you have done differently?
Maybe just written 500 words one day. Got up, and made the time to do it sometime during the day.
Does that seem less daunting to you?
Maybe.
Okay,
Let's
so
start with that.
All right. Yeah. So what do you want to do for the coming week?
So we're going to do 500 words a day.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. So the idea around that accountability is not about guilt or that you've done something wrong, right? Did you feel like you'd done something wrong, Jay?
I did initially, yeah. 'Cause
Oh,
I
really?
missed it, yeah.
Yeah, but as we went through the process, did you feel like you'd done something wrong?
No.
Because we didn't make it wrong. Because it's not wrong. This is you deciding what you want to do, right?
Right.
So it's around figuring out what's getting in the way, what can you do differently, and then setting a new goal that's realistic, attainable.
Right.
What are those things? The SMART goal again, and then moving forward
Right.
and seeing how you do. But the fact that somebody's going to ask you about it and someone is going to hold you accountable to what you said you would do and your word, I said that I would write 1,000 words every day,
Yeah.
but I didn't do it. And here's what got in the way and what I could do differently. It's walking yourself through that process
Yeah.
and having somebody else that will walk you through that process as well, because it makes a huge difference
Yeah.
when you don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
It's not about guilt. It's about moving you forward, leveling up, whatever you want to call that, helping you be in a different space to accomplish.
Right. Well, I know in my own accountability group with this program that I'm in, it's amazing how much harder you focus on and work on those little goals, or you reevaluate every Sunday as I write my weekly goals, because we report to each other on Monday during the day sometime.
Oh, you mean you plan ahead?
We plan ahead.
Wow.
And you make a plan and you say, to do this, I've got to do this and this and this, because you don't want to disappoint those people that you said, I was going to do these things.
Right.
And it is amazing how your psychology changes. Again, we're not trying to make each other feel guilty because you
Right.
didn't
No, not
make
at all.
it. Oh, yeah, you missed that thing. Oh, well, how can we help you meet that next time? Or how can we help you change? Or what ideas can we help you with?
Right.
Or I know in the Tribe of Kings we have these table groups, and one that I kind of mentor over the table. They say, okay, this is my goal, and they set an accountability buddy. So how often do you want me to check in on you on this goal you're setting? Well, I'm going to need every day. I need you to text me every day and see how I'm doing on my goal. Or, oh, you can check in on me a couple times this week, because I know I'm pretty certain that the repetitiveness. Anyway,
Yeah, that thing.
that word.
I don't know. I drew a blank too.
The repeatability of this thing is such that if you check on me 2 or 3 times during the week, but yeah, it's just you feel that strength when you know I've got somebody that's got my back, that is there to help me and make suggestions. It is so, I don't know, liberating.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's
It
huge.
really
It is. Yeah, and so how many people have that resource in their life?
Yeah.
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 And why don't we commit? I mean, a lot of times it's because we're afraid of being shamed or something like that, or we don't want to be called on our crap,
Yeah.
because it's going to stress me out, so don't even go there.
Somebody's going to notice that I didn't
Exactly.
do what I said I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then they're going to know I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Well, hello, there's nobody perfect.
But there are successful people that pay $10,000 a month for people to hold them accountable on like mastermind tables, or they hire a CEO hires a board or a group of advisors around him to hold him accountable, pays these people hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to hold him accountable to goals.
Matter of fact, I saw that in Las Vegas one time. There was one of the people there in Las Vegas that actually owned one of the casinos, and he put up a billboard that says, "I will pay you $1 million. I'll pay anyone who catches me smoking in the next 30 days." He actually put that up on a billboard, but that was committing. He just knew that if he lit up a cigarette, somebody was going to, slap that out of his hand, and then he'd have to owe them $1 million. So
Pay up,
talk about
buddy, yeah.
being committed. Yeah. Skin in the game. That's that what we call it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things I like to say is that we know what we are committed to by the results, right? So if we're committed to a goal and we're committed to accomplishing that, we'll get there.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we made a different choice.
Right.
And so we can tell what we were committed to by the results that we produce.
Yeah.
And so having someone to hold us accountable for that and to follow up and to help us achieve that is critical.
yeah.
Right. And it's not about, because some people are self-motivated. Bottom line, there are people out there. I'm not one of those. I'm like what you were describing. Yeah, I want to get up and go to the gym tomorrow, but it's so easy to, oh my gosh, there's snow out on the ground. I'm not going to go today. I'll go tomorrow. You know, I have that thing there, but when you introduce the accountability piece and have somebody help you to do that, then it gives you a reason to,
Well,
go and do it.
if you had somebody you knew was going to be waiting there at the gym for you,
Yeah.
because you promised them you would be there,
Again, planned ahead.
you planned ahead.
Or better than that, somebody's going to pull up to your front door and pick you up and take you with
Yeah.
them to the gym.
You're
You're not going to leave them hanging out front.
You got a personal trainer. You just paid $500 for the next 2 months or 3 months.
Yeah.
That, God, I get plenty of skin in the game
Yeah.
here. This trainer's here. He's going to be, I'm paying him the money one way, whether I'm there or not. I'm gonna.
Right. And so to me, accountability is a big part of it. And don't be afraid to be accountable. If you're nervous that you're not going to be able to follow through, then your goal's probably too big for that moment there. Make it smaller, because I preach this all the time. Small commitments lead to large commitments. You don't have to try to do it all at once. Matter of fact, I highly recommend you don't try to do too much at first. I can't tell you how many times I've decided, okay, that's it. First of the year, I will begin working out. I will start going to the gym an hour a day, and in the evening I'm going to stretch and all this stuff. Well, when you go from nothing to an hour a day, what's going to happen? You're going to be so sore and get sick probably because your body's not used to it,
Or hurt yourself.
hurt yourself or something like that. Don't set yourself up for failure. Take the time to plan and go, okay, let me start with 5 minutes a day. Let me start with 10 jumping jacks a day and do that consistently for a couple of weeks, then set another goal.
Well, that goes to the achievable part.
Yep.
You need to
relevant.
set things that are achievable and relevant to your situation.
Yeah. And so therefore give yourself a chance to succeed is the way I like
Right.
to.
Yeah, I'm not
so-
going to go sign up for a marathon today.
Yeah.
But why not? I did. No, just kidding. But I believe it or not, Alan, I've done 7 marathons.
I believe that.
Okay. But anyway, that's a long story too.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the goals, again, I believe a person can achieve, that old saying, if you can believe it, conceive it, you can achieve it. I do believe that, but we do have a tendency to set big goals as human beings. And then because it doesn't happen in the first, 3 hours of setting the goal, we give up.
Yeah.
And throw our arms up in the air. But if you truly take the time to say, okay, I have this big goal, and this is something that I discovered in this part of, all right, I have the goal, now I need to set a plan to get there. This was a huge piece. I call it the step it down method in my processing here. But it's taking that big elephant and deciding, I mean, we all know that, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a
One
time?
bite at a time.
But where do you start? Okay, am I going to start on the front part? Am I going to start on the back part? Am I going to get the hardest part done first? I mean, take the time to really consider that and make a good plan, because you got to break it down to something that you can actually do. This was always the qualifier for me. If I ask myself, is this something that I have control over? And I'll explain that in a minute. Is this something I have control over? If the answer was no, then I need to go, okay, what do I need to do that will lead me to being in charge of that particular thing? So if I say I want to own a chain of restaurants and I don't have a dime to my name, most people would say, well, it's impossible. No, it's not if you chunk it down. If you start with, okay, I want to own a chain of restaurants. Okay, well, what do you need? You need money, right? Well, do you have the money right now? No, that's not anything I can control. But how do I get the money? Is there a way for me to get it? Well, yeah, there's banks, there's private investors out there that if I take the time to go out and actually put a business plan together and everything, I have a chance of getting that money from somebody and actually doing all the work and them getting a nice little chunk of it and all that stuff, my profits and all that, but you can at least get started. Well, if you don't know how to write a business plan, can you learn? Yeah. Who do I need to go to? I can go to the banks and learn how to run Google. I can go to the library. I can look it up. See, now I've broken it down to something I can do. I can do that. I can start looking up how to build a business plan.
Well, I think all those things you're talking about are part of that extraordinary effort.
Yeah.
You've made the effort to move forward on your goal. And so as you break it down, okay, I can make this step and I can make this step, but you got to make consistent, extraordinary effort to be able to meet those goals. And I think the other part, the relevant, you were talking about, the idea that came to mind, if you make a goal that is not relevant to where you want to be, how much effort are you going to put toward it?
None. Yeah.
Zero.
And then your chance of making that goal is zero, because you will say, that's not going to help me. Why am I even doing this? And that goal goes by the wayside pretty quickly. So, but yeah, I like that, chunking it down. And so if I want to learn how to sail around the world, okay, the first thing I need to do is have the resources to do this, to fund it. I need to learn how to sail.
Yeah, and you need to discover what kind of a boat it would take
to do that.
To do that, because
Yeah.
again, your little canoe isn't.
Yeah.
You're not gonna have too much fun out there.
So
You're
yeah.
only going to make it as far as your arms can paddle.
Correct. So
But anyway, okay. What other thoughts do we have about in making these goals and extraordinary efforts?
I think that it's good for people to remember that you can achieve huge things. You just have to make it into something that's achievable one step at a time. If that was the one takeaway that I had for people, it's make sure that you understand you can accomplish. You can do it. You just have to start with little things.
Right.
and never be afraid to set goals.
Yeah.
Again, as I was very honest about that. I was so tired of setting goals and nothing happening. But then when I changed my mindset and realized, okay, I can accomplish anything as long as I follow that method of stepping it down and putting it into bite-sized pieces. Yes, I can accomplish a lot of great things. I was able to build a youth program. My company where I work with at-risk youth, and I literally had no money. I had none. But the thoughts kept, the ideas kept coming to me on, okay, how can I get this? This particular thing that I need. And it was a miracle how things would open up to me and the doors that would open up that led to it happening. So,
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. So I think our call to action for today's show is step outside that fear and set some goals that will change who you are, change you to who you really want to be. So, and I really appreciate your inputs and your thoughts. It's taught me a few things as well. So, as always, thank you for listening to Rebuilding. I hope that you have heard something today that will help you on your path to rebuilding your life. If something resonated, if you felt a call to action, please take that action and rebuild. Let me know what you think of today's show or any of my shows. You can leave comments at rebuilding.podbean.com or email at j@jwalter.com. I would love to hear from you. Comments, suggestions, and topics that you would like me to cover are always welcome. Remember, a dream written down with a deadline is a goal, and a goal achieved is a dream come true. Until next time, I am Jay Walter, and I am always rebuilding.